Today's episode of Chat and Chew is sponsored by I am Crystal Bodie Smith.
Well, Mom, Dad, we're going to go by to your house today. I got Sis, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane. Since I wasn't born here in Raleigh and Deborah was, I'm going to take her for a trip down memory lane. I sure wish people get it, man. I wish they understood that while their parents are alive, to give them their flowers. I love you, and I thank you for everything. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for y'all. Love on your family while you can, because this is where my family is. Mom, Dad, brother, grandparents, cousins. Oh my God. This is where my family is, except for my sister and me. Where's your family? That's my question. If they breathing and they walking and they talking, please, please don't sweat the small stuff. Forgive and forget. And just go love on them and apologize. But come, let me let you meet my brother. Get some flowers for you, bro. Man. Well, you know, this was Daddy's thing. He did this, but I didn't do this. But so I'm going to turn you down for a minute because I can't have you with no empty flowers, bro. Man, I never forget the day he called me and he said, Sis, they gave me 6 months to live. Whew. So I'm going to show you a book I wrote because of this story. So as a result of this, came Final Wishes. I took everything that I went through with Charles, Mom, and Dad, and I wrote it. When I tell you Final Wishes is a guide for transition from life to death. So, guys, I just took some things, some simple stuff. Check it out. I even have pages in there where you can write a letter to your loved one. I have some very important things for business owners, so I'd like for you to check it out. And it's not about selling a book. It's about giving you peace of mind. It's about making sure you don't feel what I felt. That's why I wrote this book. Because I don't want nobody to go through what I went through. Please find out what your family's final wishes are. I'm telling you, it'll save you from the day you have to make a decision at the ER. It's so much easier.
Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and of course, hit the bell to activate notifications that will remind you when we're on. Please be sure to leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you.
Greetings. Thanks for joining us. We have a very, very good, exciting topic today. And I want you guys to come in and be a part of this discussion.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Appreciate that. You're looking mighty dapper over there.
I'm trying to be like you, Dave. I'm trying to be like you.
I'm not as dapper today. My apologies to my crew out there. We welcome our friends and family members and colleagues to our broadcast today. We're going to talk about a couple things, but before we do any of that, got some housekeeping.
Yes, let's do the housekeeping things.
First and foremost, Facebook users, if you're out there, just want you to like our page and share it. And as well as if you share it, then we also would like for you to have some comments. I think we had a reel out there that I didn't respond to, but we'll get to that. YouTubers, if you see us, then that means you are probably following us. And if you just stumbled on us, we welcome you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so that you will know when we are on air. These are live broadcasts, so we want to make sure you all follow us. Last but not least, Instagram, we're there too with a short message on Instagram. So for everybody, though, we want to hear your comments. We want you to be a part of our broadcast. Don't think we won't read them. We will read them, and we will respond if necessary, definitely. So we're going to move forward now, Glenn.
Yes.
I will hand the mic back over to you, and let's have some chat and chew.
Let's have some chat and chew. I am super, super excited about our guest today and about the topic. It's a topic that we don't like to talk about a lot, but it's a topic that needs to be talked about a lot. And so I'm going to introduce our speaker, Crystal Bodie Smith. Crystal Bodie Smith. And of course, I got my cohort there, Mr. James Jackson. We went to St. together.
All right.
I was there from 1976 to 1980. Mm-hmm. She was there from 1978 to 1982.
Correct.
And you stayed in Raleigh when you graduated, or did you go back home at all?
I actually went back home. Never would have thought I would be back in North Kakalaki.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Where are you from originally?
New York
City.
The Big Apple.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
our paths have crossed many times since then. I just wanted to welcome you to the set. You are doing some amazing work in the community, and this is a subject that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And in light of Black History Month, and a lot of guys that we work with, I really think this is a subject that needs to be discussed in great length. And I know our 30 minutes today is not really going to give you justice, what you got to share with us. And we're going to have to do this in segments. But I want to have you back before I know that's going to happen. And I want to have you back, and I want to talk about this. I want to really dissect the whole segment of this. Mm-hmm. But before I do it, I want you to tell us, introduce your audience to you. Tell us a little about who you are and where you come from and your family and all that good stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Glenn and James, for having me here. Kudos to Fathers Forever and everything that you guys are doing here in the Triangle area. My name is Crystal Bodie Smith. I am your Hope Catalyst, also a change agent, mother, grandmother, sister, caregiver, just an ordinary person, just like everyone out here. I'm no different than anyone else. The only difference is I just answered the call to be a little bit more transparent with the things that I do in life. And one of the things I did was I took some of my situations that I encountered with all the losses in my life, because I have come from a family of 5, and now it's down to 2.
Wow.
Lost mom, dad, and brother to cancer, 3 different forms of cancer.
Wow.
And in that process, this book was written,
Our
So I just
condolences
felt
to
as
you.
though, thank you so much. I just felt as though some of the things that I went through, I never wanted anyone else to go
Right.
through. And a lot of times we learn life lessons,
Yes.
and
Right.
everything, we do, our businesses and our personal life and everything else. But there's some things that we just don't share. But I was just, convicted to share. To share, to bring up the conversation, to talk about it, because I got tired of seeing people out there with the GoFundMes and all the different things that happen and the mistakes that are made, because people just don't know.
Right.
And so that's why
Yeah.
we're here.
And so the subject matter we're going to be talking about today is being prepared for when death comes.
And Glenn, that's so true that what Ms. Crystal is saying, the GoFundMes.
Yes, and we're going to get into that, but that's really what Crystal is doing. I think your book came out a number of years ago called Final Wishes, and that's about preparing people for when your loved one die.
Yeah.
It's about the conversation.
The conversation.
It's more about the conversation. I do talk about the process and the steps that need to be taken and instruct people on the different types of insurance and everything. But the first thing that I want people to really think about is, are you having those difficult conversations?
Yeah.
Because, Glenn, people don't sit down at the dinner table no more.
Right.
When we came up, we sat down at the
We
dinner
did.
table with
Yes.
our family,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So now people are busy. They passing each other by. Everybody's on their phone. They like this. They sitting up there like this. You can go in a room and everybody's like this.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So it's about having those conversations, and it's really important because when the unexpected happens, when there's
Right.
these accidents and things happen, and you get that phone call,
Right.
and somebody's in the hospital,
Right.
and they're on the machine,
Right.
and you have to make that decision.
Right.
It is so much more easier if you have to pull the plug. If
Right.
you say to the family when you go out there, listen, I'm just honoring their wishes.
Right. Right.
It's so much easier when you go out there and you say that opposed to, I'm going to pull the plug. Because now they're going to be like, well, why? Can you wait? Well, such and such is not here. But if you say that you're honoring their wishes, it
Right.
makes it easier on the family.
Right. So again, the subject is preparing, having that discussion for when you do get that phone call. So tell us a little bit about the book and why you decided to write that book. And before that, James, you mentioned you were talking about the GoFundMe page.
Yeah. It's. I just recently lost my dad in December of
Yes, I remember.
23.
Yeah.
And prior to that, we lost our mom in
right.
2018. But we did have that discussion with her before she
Deceased.
did-
Yeah. Passed
before
away.
she passed.
Right.
And I'm glad we did. It made it easier for the family. And I know, Ms. Crystal, you're here to talk. I don't want to talk, but that is a real thing, though. And
Yes.
and my dad, when he passed, I'm just thankful that he had the funds to take care of all of those expenses involved
Right.
with burying
Right.
a loved one.
Right. And, yeah, because again, having these conversations, even when we was at the table growing up, we didn't talk about this stuff.
No.
We didn't talk about having life insurance. We didn't talk about being prepared for
Never did.
people our family who's going to die. But it's a conversation that we need to have on a regular basis. And I mean, once you get things in order, you don't have to have that conversation every day. But we need to, like you said, have the conversation of getting things in order, so when that time do come, we can have. So tell us about the work that you're doing now, to helping people to be prepared for that moment.
Well, it starts with asking the right questions. I want to go back to say condolences back to you for losing your
thank
dad.
you. Yeah.
And you said something. You said it was easier because he had taken those steps. It does lighten the burden for those that we leave behind when we are a little bit more organized.
Yes.
Because we have to understand it's not about us.
Right.
We have to think about our children, our family. They're going to be destroyed. They're going to be caught off guard. And so we want to make that easier for them. So this book was written because it wasn't easy for me, because I was caught off guard, because of what I had to go through. And again, I said, oh, my goodness, I don't ever want anybody to go through this. You know, my brother, when he called me in 2018, they gave him 6 months to live. And he said, sis, I'm going to come on back to North Carolina to be with the family. So sis and I went up there. We all went up there, and we took that ride. And when I got there, they were asking me questions. They were asking me about his insurance. They were asking me about things. Now, he still was in his right mind, so he was able to speak for himself, but there were some questions they were asking me that I didn't have the answers to.
Right.
So when I went back to his apartment and I had to search, wow, that process was like, oh, my goodness. That's when I went out and I got a book, like at a Kinko's type store, and I went and got a binder, got dividers, and I had to go to his old job. I had to go to places like that. And this is when I realized people don't go back and they don't check. Number one, they don't go back and they don't review their policies and information often enough.
Right.
People don't go back. They don't go back and they don't reassess things often enough, because guess what? Excuse me. They break up in relationships. They get
Right.
divorced. They get separated.
Yes.
Right.
And then you forget to remove those names off those policies.
Wow.
Not only that, but people pass away, and you forget to remove those names and to change the beneficiaries. You know, you forget to change the names when people get married, or do a name change to update the information. And I'm telling you right now, insurance companies are not going to pay you if it's not accurate.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
It's not, you will not get the check if your information is not correct on there. So these are important. Another important thing, a lot of people are going back taking care of their elderly parents. Some of us are fortunate to still have parents, and some of us don't have them. But
Right.
those of you who are out there and you're going back taking care of your parents, don't just take their word for it when they say, and you ask them, do you have a policy, Mom, Dad? Go look at the policy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them may have term and it aged out because they outlived the policy.
I remember at a church, one of our church members, her husband passed away, and she thought she had this insurance. When they wouldn't pull it up, 2 years before the term end. So now she's faced with burying her father without having any insurance money.
And that's an innocent reason to do a GoFundMe.
Right.
That's an
Innocent
innocent
reason,
reason
right.
for people to help. We're not knocking that.
Right.
Correct.
We're
Correct.
knocking when the people are out here, whether they're young parents or people who are choosing to get the latest Jordans and get the hair done and the weave done and all that, in opposed to taking out and budgeting for a policy. That's
Right.
what we're talking
Right.
about when we say we are sick and tired of the GoFundMe. Because
Right.
there are people who don't have to have the GoFundMe
True.
because
Right.
they were in positions where they could have. Come on,
Buy a policy.
To get a policy for a child is $2 and $3 and $4.
Right.
And if we, as parents and grandparents, my mother, do what my mother did, get the policy for the children, and don't give them the policy if they're not responsible.
Right.
Wait till they become a responsible adult and then give them the policy.
Right.
So I have a younger sister, and she took the lead on my parents' finances, their life insurance policies and things like that. And my dad was paying for, he had multiple policies too, and don't know why, but anyway, one of the policies would only pay if he was decapitated. I mean, who would sign up for something like that?
Right.
So you do have to read the policies, and if they don't work, you need to make sure you
Wow.
stop it and get something that does work. Like I said, he did have multiple policies, but
Right.
she just uncovered some stuff, that didn't make sense. You
Wow.
know, people
Wow.
just taking money. You know?
Yeah. So quick story. When a few years ago, probably 10, maybe longer than that, my younger brother passed away.
Right.
And he worked for a local company in Benson. And, he had cancer. And they told, the cancer he had, they operated on him, but they said it's going to come back in about 10 years. Almost to the day, it came back. And so he ended up, dying about 2 years later. And we didn't know, we know he worked at this place. We know he had a insurance policy. We didn't know how much it was. But while he was in his right mind, he went back and he changed it and upped it. So he passed away that particular day. The next day, we were all down at my mom's house and getting ready to make the arrangements. The phone rang. I answered the phone, and the lady said, "Let me speak to Magdalene Warren." I gave her the phone, and then my mom, after she answered the phone, she had this smile, but tears running down her eyes. And I'm thinking, what was this about? And then my mom said, "Give it to your dad." I gave it to my dad. And when I gave it to him, my dad had this look, and he smiled. I'm thinking, what is this about? And then finally I hung up the phone, and my mom, in her tears, now tell us, "Your brother, Kenny, this is an insurance company from his job. He left $100,000 to me and $100,000 to his dad."
Wow.
So they got $200,000. Now, we're still grieving, but, because now we're trying to scrap money together to bury him. We had a little bit of policy. We know we had a little bit of money, a policy left. We didn't know it was that much. So now we go to the funeral home, and everybody is, we still sad. We still crying. But we all picked out flowers
Yes.
that we wanted
Right.
individually, that we wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that.
That's
Right.
right.
And when we got to the funeral, again, it doesn't take away the grief. It doesn't take. But then, my mom now has got $100,000, and my
That's
dad,
right.
and my mom, and you have to know my dad as to why. My brother knew him as to why he did it that way. Because my dad was the father. He was the man. He chose He made the rules in the house. But my brother said, I'm going to give my mama hers, and you give yours. So my mom wanted to go somewhere. She wanted to go to Disney World, and my dad is like, why don't you do that? She's like, I got my own money. I don't, and every time she wanted to go somewhere, she did not have to ask his permission. That's a family dynamic, but I'm just throwing that in.
Yes.
That's the reason why my brother did it that way.
Yes.
But the point is, my father and my mom lived a long time with that $100,000 policy. They gave us some of it, thank God. But they lived a long time. They upgraded their lives. My dad bought a car. My mom bought some clothes. It was just again, those things don't take away the grief, but it definitely helps.
So can I interject there? So our people, some that look like us, tend not to think about those things. They don't think about the generational wealth piece of it. They don't think about the legacy piece, like you said.
Yes.
And so it is important that you understand the insurance is for the living.
Yes.
It's not for the person who passed away.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what people forget. Now, I work closely because I'm not a licensed insurance agent. I work with Dr. Jonica Rowland. She's a business and financial consultant in multiple states for life, health, Medicare supplements, retirement plans, insurance policies, and this is what we do together. So it is important that you have somebody that understands what you need to do.
Right.
Yes.
And so if you contact me, I'll put you in contact with her because that's what she does. She analyzes your situation and sees what you need because everybody's situation is different.
Right.
But you definitely need to have a plan. You have to have a plan for retirement. You have to have a plan for your life, and you have to have a plan for your children and what you want to leave behind.
Right.
That's important. So that's what your brother did. He thought about his parents.
Right.
That's it.
And one of the classes James and I teach in our fatherhood curriculum is legacy. And actually, I use my father's obituary to say one day we all going to be here, whether we want to. And this is a conversation, Crystal, that you said so many. These are conversations we don't like to have. Because we don't want to talk about dying.
Right.
We don't want that's part of it, but that is a necessary conversation that we need to have because we all gonna face it one day.
And when you have it, go back and check the paperwork because the situation happened with me. When I went back to go up there for my brother, he did not change the names. Oh. And when he finally changed the name during this trip, it was contested. Because they try to make it seem like he was not in his right mind, which he was. Right. So that's why I say to people, make sure that you go back and check the paperwork. Sure. Get those X's off the paperwork. Sometimes also I have to put it out there too because this also happened. People remarry. Right. And when you remarry, you think that people are going to carry things out. Put it in writing, people.
Right.
Put it in writing. So in my book, I give you the opportunity to put it in writing. There's a place in the book where you can also write because a lot of us don't want to do the formal wills.
Right.
So this is like an informal way to look at the things. And also some of us are entrepreneurs.
Right.
We need to have those discussions too. What do you want to happen with your business if something happens?
Yeah.
Because we're doing all this work. You set up Fathers Forever and did all this. God forbid something happened to you and your loving wife. Shout out to her because she's the backbone of all this, doing all that. I gotta shout out the women because behind these two strong men, there's some ladies behind them.
Yes.
All of that. Yes.
We need to definitely put a shout out for that. But write it down, people. The good book says it in Habakkuk too. Write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah.
It goes for the policies information.
Yeah. So I want to highlight this book again because I think a lot of people don't take time or don't have the money to go out and get a will. But you said in this particular book, there is a place that you can write down what will happen.
Information, bank information, contact information, stuff that your children may not know about you, your desires, your wishes. Again, I have to go back to that accident, that phone call. It is important to ask your family members, if something happened, do you want to be on the machine? Nowadays, if you're going for a procedure, a shoulder or something, they're going to ask you about the do not resuscitate. Right. Yep. They ask you those questions. Right. So have those discussions with your children.
Right.
Have those discussions.
And that will happen. Yeah. The DNR thing is real.
It's real.
It is real.
Yeah, we just went through it. My brother passed away last January. We knew he was sick. He'd been sick for a long time, so he would bounce back. And we all kind of he's going to go to the hospital. Yeah, they'll tune him up. He'll be there for a couple of months. Yeah. He'll come home. Yeah. Well, this time he didn't come home. Yeah. And he started deteriorating worse and worse. And even though we know he was dying eventually, we still didn't do the work to find out We knew he had some insurance policy, but we didn't know. So now we're still looking through his mail to find out if he had another insurance policy.
This is brother number 2, right?
No, yeah, this is the one that just died last year.
Yeah.
And so if we had a book, and I know you don't have to have a book to write down things, but I think this book will give you the setup and the understanding of how important that is. So eventually I want you to tell the audience where they can get this book at, because these are conversations that I think we need to have to make sure that our family members, again, we're not knocking the GoFundMe page,
Right.
but there's opportunity sometimes we don't have to have that. But not only that, Crystal and James, one of the classes that we teach is on legacy.
Yes.
And we ask, when you die, what are your kids going to say about you?
Right.
What legacy? Are they going to say, my daddy gave me the keys to be successful in life? Are they
Or
gonna
he
say,
left me in debt.
He was a Rolling Stone. Or he left me in debt.
Yeah.
What are they going to say?
Right.
Not only that, but the other good thing is you got an insurance policy now that you can go cash. So you may be crying that Sunday morning or that Thursday night when they bury you, Thursday afternoon when they bury you, but the next day when you go to the bank with that $50,000 life insurance policy that your father thought so much about or your mom thought so much about to leave you, now that policy can get you ahead in life, can get you a down payment for your car, for your house, can give you an education that you've been trying to get.
Sure.
Those are the things that you can use. So again, you said the insurance, the check is not for the dead.
It's for the living.
It's for the living.
But can I put a side note in there, y'all?
Yes.
Treat people right, though. Because they change names on those policies, too. I've seen some people go back and take names
Because
off
you didn't treat them right.
Because
Right.
you're disrespectful. So to the
Yeah.
disrespectful teenagers and people coming up, rethink.
Rethink.
Be respectful, because you don't want to treat people right because you want something from them. But
Right.
just know, don't bite the hand that feeds you, because you
Yes.
never know what they're thinking and what they're praying for. Because you
That's
can
true.
cut your losses real quick and find out.
Yes.
You get to that church and you get there and you start hearing them names being read, and they're like, "Where my name? They didn't. What? They left it all."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
That's real stuff. Yeah.
Also, a lot of times during funerals, that's when you see families loving one another and grieve together, or you see them, that's the worst fight.
The fight. Yeah.
Because you know what, sometimes that insurance policy didn't include them or
Excluded.
exclude them, or that this other the disease. The divorced person now, because the name wasn't taken off the policy,
Their
now they got that
benefit.
check.
Now
They got that money.
Their
Yes.
benefit.
And all the siblings, everybody's mad with her because she has now got that money, and she don't divorce him, maybe don't like him anymore, and she maybe not going to do the very minimum. So now all the family members are mad with one another. And they're going back and forth because it's a mess.
Yes, and that's the other reason why it has to be written out too, because people, if you're leaving money to young adults, sometimes it's okay to write it out, and if you want to leave them $50,000, $100,000, and say, listen, you can't get it until you get the degree or until this is done. You can
Yes.
leave stipulations
Sure.
also
Yes.
and leave instructions, and also you can leave other people in charge to help them guide through the process.
Right.
So it's all these things that you want to think about. There's so many questions that you want to ask and that need to be discussed. But it starts with communication. It starts with building relationship. It starts with what Fathers Forever does in helping the fathers go back and reunite and open the doors again to where people want to have conversations. Because if you don't have a good relationship, if it's broken, you can't have those discussions. So that's
Right.
why what Fathers Forever does is so important.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges you face when you're trying to get this conversation in front of people and some of the pushback that they give you?
When I wrote the book about 10 years ago, I gave out 100 books free. Majority of the people told me, Crystal, I couldn't do it. They said, Crystal, I still have the book. I said, did you fill it in? They said, girl, I'm being honest, no. I said,
Wow.
what? They said, it's a hard thing. People don't want to sit down and think. And so what I now start doing is I have workshops where I have people where we together sit down and we write letters and we think things through. It's not that you want to say that you're going to die one day, but some people say, some will be here when Jesus comes, some may not if they have that faith.
Right.
But it's just being responsible.
Yes.
Right.
It's just being responsible, that's all.
Right.
And so I try to incorporate a way that makes it a little bit more, I don't want to say fun, but realistic, lighten the burden, because people just don't want to think about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it, and it just doesn't make sense. So you have to make them say, what would you want? I mean, and make them go back to like your story. Everybody has a story.
Right.
Everybody has had
true.
a story with a loved one that they can relate to, and they'll say, you know what, I really don't want to have to be put in that situation, because that was not a good feeling.
Right. How will y'all listeners get your book?
Through me, you can contact me on any of my
Platforms?
websites. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, many websites, but I prefer if you get it from me.
Right.
So you can definitely get it through me. Although, if you search the name, again, now when you search Final Wishes, a guide for transition from life to death, put my name, Crystal Bodie Smith. There is other people out there with the book, Final Wishes, but if you put Final Wishes by Crystal Bodie Smith, then you'll get mine. Right. I would love to come out and speak to the seniors, the children, young adults, or young parents, or organizations like yourself, and let's work it out. Let's do it, people, because we need each other. Together, we can work. All together, we can help people.
Well, I'm so glad to have you again to be a part of our podcast. We're going to bring you back. We're doing another summit, and I'm talking about it earlier. I think the theme of this summit is part of the legacy. Okay, until we meet again, have a safe time. Here's 3 ways you can support our Dads at a Distance initiative. Give a copy to a family member or friend. Donate monthly, a book monthly, 5 books monthly, how many books you want to do monthly donation. Reverse book signing, your church, your business. You can make a donation go to our website at www.afatherforever.com and go to our PayPal at Fathers Forever. Our Cash App is $Fathers Forever. Make your donation today. Please include in the note section, include DAAD. Again, include in the note section DAAD.
If you or someone you know would like to be a part of the show, please visit our website at www.afatherforever.com or call us at 919-779-9905. The Chat and Chew podcast streams Thursdays at 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook. To schedule a reverse book signing or to find out more information about how you can become a part of the programs you heard us mention today, please be sure to stop by our website as well.
Hello, everyone. This is Glenn Warren, founder and executive director of Fathers Forever. I want to share an alarming reality with you. 627,000 fathers are incarcerated that have kids under 18. Now, there are 56,000 moms incarcerated who have kids under 18. The reality is there are so many more fathers incarcerated than moms. This is why I Am a Father Forever book exists. Now I need your help. I am inviting you to help us get this book into as many fathers incarcerated as possible. Here's how it works. For your donation of $22, we will provide a book to an incarcerated father. Thank you in advance for helping Fathers Forever heal fathers and save families.